Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Aisha, your host. As we continue exploring uncommon stories in the Quran, let's discuss the circumstance, situation, and lessons we can take away from the story of the people of Sheba. And as always, let's have another insightful conversation on this topic with Dr. Shabir Ally. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
So we're continuing our series on uncommon stories in the Quran, and now we're talking about the people of Sheba or Saba. So tell us a little bit, who were these people?
Well, we don't have a lot of detail about them in the Quran, and that's why it's not a very common story, because we know so little. They are mentioned, especially with reference to their queen, in the 27th chapter of the Quran. That's in the story of Solomon, which we covered in some detail in other aspects over time on the show. And the 34th chapter of the Quran is named Saba or Sheba for the same reason that there is a mention of them in that chapter. Now, no reference to their queen, but to their eventual destruction. So, if we put all of this information together, the people of Saba, first of all, or Sheba, was a city about 50 miles away from Sana'a, or in Yemen, and they were a very prosperous people and the city. When it is mentioned in the 27th chapter of the Quran that Solomon first came to know of them, the report that was brought to Solomon is that these people that the queen has been given, she has a mighty throne and she's been given something of everything. So it's like they're prosperous, they have everything they need. And so we go from that prosperity to the mention in the 34th chapter of the Quran about their eventual destruction. So what caused their destruction? This was their recalcitrance, their reneging on the teachings of God and disobeying the message that will reach them through God's prophet.
What about, so do we have any, so this is very, obviously it's a powerful story, but limited information. What about do we have stories of this from other religious scriptures that we can sort of build further to it?
Yeah, there is a mention of Sheba in the Bible in several places. In the book of Kings, 1 Kings chapter 1, for example, to 10. And the story of the queen of Sheba, who is not named either in the Bible or in the Quran, and her interactions with Solomon, the king, as he's mentioned in the Bible, prophet according to the Quran. So that gives us some connection with between the scriptures, between the Bible and the Quran. More to the Quranic story of the people of Saba, they were given luscious gardens. So this was a source of pride. If we think of the Arabian environment with a lot of deserts, somebody has luscious, prosperous
so very well
gardens.
off.
Yes, they were well off. But despite the bounties and favors that God had given them, they were not grateful. And the 34th chapter says that God sent them Sail al-Arim, which might be translated as the flood related to the dam. Apparently they had built a dam to stave off the water, but that dam burst. And as a result, instead of the luscious gardens that they used to have, they got a more limited sort of provision from the plants that would grow as a result. And that is interesting, I think, because while the Quran is describing the fact that these people basically don't deserve anything from God, at the same time, they are given some provisions. Not the abundance that you used to have previously, but they're still being given some.
So despite being ungrateful, God is still merciful in that He's still providing for them.
Yes, and that's a lesson for our present times, because when we look around, we see that everybody gets some benefit from God. Even those who disobey God, they still get some benefit. Some are very prosperous, some are very wealthy, despite their disobedience, despite the wrong that they're doing. But of course, the ultimate judgment is with God, and the ultimate justice will be done in the life hereafter. So people should not account their present prosperity as meaning that God is with them, because that prosperity could be temporary, or in any case, it could just simply come from the abundance of God's grace, not a reflection of what the servant actually deserves.
I think even though it's an uncommon story, there's a lot to take away from it. So thank you very much, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.